Hello everyone. So today we are going to work on how to make these NPC characters work like teams. So what I'm going to do is, if I throw a rock, all of them would go to that location to search what the noise is. But now I'm going to implement a team-like behavior so that these NPC characters will have some shared consciousness or some shared knowledge that if some voice noise is heard, even though all of them notice that, only one of them will go to that location and search. So that's what I am going to work on today. Here is the demonstration. Throw a rock there, so all of them heard it, but only one of them is going to go there and check. So if everything seems fine, he will return to his location in a while, like this. So right, let's see how to do this. Behaving like a team as system today. And this episode is sponsored by these generous patrons. Thank you very much for your support. Right, so at the moment, if I throw a rock like this, I guess it's too close, they are not moving. Yeah, both of them are going there to check that location. But the problem with this approach is, if I have, let's say, a lot of enemies, it's not noticeable when there are just only... Oh, it's a grenade. It's not noticeable when there are only 2 enemies, but when there are multiple enemies, see, it's okay to make them look at it, but it's not okay to come all of them into that location in order to check. So that is not exactly a intelligent behavior. Only one of them should go there and check if it is a minor disturbance. So to make them work as a team, we need to have some shared consciousness for these enemy characters for each enemy team. By team I mean like factions. If there are 2 enemy factions, they should have 2 different shared consciousness. So how should we implement something like that? How can we implement such an idea? So yeah, the way I'm going to approach that problem is, here under in the BP folder, no, let's put that in this character logic AI folder, because this is where I have most of the AI related stuff. Here I'll create an actor class. Let's call it NPC Manager. The reason I implemented this as an actor class is, I need to place these NPC managers in different levels. So I can just drag and drop one, and if there is an NPC managers, these enemy characters should take inputs, some inputs like making decisions. They will take inputs from the NPC manager. So that's the basic idea. So first, the NPC manager needs to have a team. So I'll add a variable team ID. just like these enemies also have a team. Where is it? Under teams, team ID. This should be an integer. By default it will be 0. Right, now I'll place one of these NPC managers in this level. Just drag and drop one. Right, now under this NPC, no, maybe in the, yeah, only NPC characters need to have access to NPC Manager for the moment. So here let's add a variable NPC Manager, and I'll use the type NPC Manager. I'll make this visible. So now if I select all these NPC characters, I can now assign NPC Manager just like this. And in case these NPC characters don't have a valid NPC Manager, we can do it like this, because sometimes we spawn NPC characters in the runtime, so in that case they wouldn't have a reference. So here I can do a is valid check. If valid, we don't need to do anything. If not, we have to find it. So find actors for that. No, I think not find. Get actor. Get all actors of class. Right. We can use this function. This is an expensive function, as I know, but we are only using it once, and also if we don't have a valid reference, so it should be fine for this, just to use it like this. So I want to find NPC Manager. Let me collapse this to a macro. Find NPC Manager. So it's not enough to get out all the actors, but we need to check. We need to find the NPC Manager of this this NPC characters team, because for different teams there should be different NPC Managers. So here we can get team ID and compare it with the team ID of this NPC. Team ID. If this is true, that means we have found the NPC Manager. So we have found the relevant NPC Manager. So we can set this NPC Manager as our NPC Manager and out. Right, and since I have already set the reference, that part will not be called. Right, so now the first thing I want to implement is when I throw a rock, as I explained before, only one character should go and check. That's the first thing I want to implement, instead of making everyone go there. So to do that, here ladder function, can I search? Oh. So the reason I name it like that is this is sort of like NPC character asking the NPC manager, can I should I search that location, or if someone is already searching that location, because if that is the case, nobody has to search it. So nobody has to search it again. Only one, searching only one would be enough. So right, I think as an input we should have a search location. And as the output, only a boolean value should be enough. Yes or no. If true, it will be a yes, otherwise it would be a no. So how should we decide we should check or not? So first, in the first when we get such a request, we can let's have few more variables, not local variables, global this class level variables. First one would be, think float, last search time. And also we would have another variable in type of vector, last search location. I'll put this to under category my thread, because this searching is relevant for minor threads like a footstep sound or a rock throwing sound. Let's put this can I search also under minor thread. So right, as the last search time default value, I'll put -100 by default, so that in the first time if we have 0, if I get a request can I search, in the first second it would be like we have just recently searched. So that's why I made it -100. So when I get this request, first we need to check the location, and if what we need to check is if this location is same as the last search location. So we can check the distance actually, even if it is not the same, if it is very close, we may not need to search it again. So if this distance is less than, let's say 200 units, let's promote this to a variable. My search overlap distance. I hope that's a good name. That's 200. If this is true, sorry, we should check if this is larger. If this is true, we should search, because that's a different location from the last search location. And if this is false, now if this is true, we should definitely check. So I'll set last search location as this given location with this one, but we can actually use this search location to get that same value within the function. This is same as this input, right? And also we need to save set last search time with the current time, get time seconds, and return true. And if this condition is false, that means we are trying to search the same location. So in this case, we should consider the time. So if this is false, let's have another branch, and we can check the difference between the last search time and current time. So get time seconds minus last search time. If this is larger than, let's say, let's format this also to a variable. So how much should be the gap? Let's say 10 seconds. Minor search repeat gap. Hope that is clear enough, ne? So if this condition is true, we can also return true. Otherwise, we can just return false. This condition becomes false means we have just recently searched the same location, so no point of search in that same location again. Alright. Now for this particular function, what we have to do inside NPC Manager is all done. Now the next part happens in the behavior tree. So this is where we search for minor threads. If we don't have a locked actor, and if we have a noise location, and in that noise location, if the threat level is 0, we are doing a minor, considering it as a minor thread, and do a minor thread search, which I have done in this search minor thread sub behavior tree. So basically what we do is this: look at that direction and wait for seconds and move to that location. But here, instead of moving, let's first check if we can search. So for that, we need to check with our NPC Manager if we have the permission to check, or do we need to check, or if someone else already has checked the location, we should not, otherwise we should. So that's why I implemented this function. But how could we ask that from the behavior tree? So for that, here we need a new decorator. BT decorator blueprint base. I'll name it BT decorator. Can I search? Right, now here let's override perform condition check AI. So here we can get a reference to the controlled pawn, but we still don't have a reference to the NPC Manager. But in the controlled pawn we have CLN BPI NPC interface. So here I'll add another function with the same name, can I search. Input would be search location in the type of vector, and output would be a boolean yes, no. Put it under AI. Right, now let's implement this interface event in the NPC. Can I search? So now we can check, get a reference, get the NPC Manager. I think we can put that also on here. First we may need to check if it is valid or not, because if there is no NPC Manager, that means the NPC character should be able to independently take decisions. That means he should always check, because there is no shared consciousness now. If we do have one, we can ask, can I search? Using this function under minor thread. So we can give the search location. And the return value like this. Okay, now in this decorator we have the control pawn. We can ask, can I search? So here we need to know the search location, and search location is coming from the blackboard noise location. So because we are searching the noise location, so we need to have a blackboard key. Noise location. Blackboard key selector. Now that I notice, instead of calling this search location, would be better to call noise location. So let's change that. Noise location. Get value as vector. Here also let's change the name. Nice location. Right. And here let's add the decorator. What's the name? Can I search? But we need to make that blackboard key visible here. Oh, it should be a public variable. It cannot be a local variable. Otherwise we can't set it from the behavior tree. Here, noise location, we can directly set noise location. So if we get a true here, we can execute this part. Wait. So if this becomes false, I think there is a chance the tree will be stuck in this location. But let's test and see what happens first. Great, only one of them is going to search, and if not they should return, but others are keep looking at the same location. Oh, they are going one by one. What's happening? Let's check the behavior tree. No. Can't find my connectors. Why is that? Oh. Alright, it seems that is fine. Okay, it is working as expected. Let's throw another rock over there. Right, now they turn to that location and one of them are going. Alright, so it is working as intended. But why another character is also going there? That is a problem. Yeah, I think we need to have a selector here. Otherwise this part will not be executed. And then under another sequence we should have these conditions. Let's try again. So now two people should not be checking. Yeah, one of them is now going to check. he should return. Okay, it seems fine. So another minor thing I noticed is that they keep looking at the same location. They don't turn to their original direction that they are looking at. So that may be something we can add, but for now I'm gonna stop this episode right here, and we will continue to do improvements into this system in future as well. So thanks for watching. If you, as always, the project files will be available for the download in the Patreon page, and link would be in the description below. See you in another episode. Goodbye.